Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Palmatier. I'm a fantasy author, but more importantly, I am the founder of Zombies Need Brains, which is a small press, and we fund science fiction and fantasy themed anthologies through Kickstarters, and we have a Kickstarter going on right now. So we're here today to talk to one of the anchor authors for one of the anthologies. We have 4 anthologies this year. The one we're going to focus in on today is Dragonesque. Dragonesque is stories written from the dragon's point of view. So it's not dragon stories, it's stories from the dragon's point of view. And like I said, Jean-Marie Ward is one of our anchor authors, and she's here to talk to us about some of her upcoming work and also what she has planned for Dragonesque when we get there. But for now, introduce yourself, Jean, and tell us all about the 2 new books that are coming out from you. I guess novellas, right?
Novellas, yep, that's it, absolutely. Hello, my name is Jean-Marie Ward, as Joshua kindly introduced, and I'm thrilled to be here. I write fiction, nonfiction, and everything in between. I've had a long and storied association with Zombies Need Brains, and at least one other dragon story from the dragon's point of view has been published by Zombies Need Brains in second round, More Tales from the Urbar. It's a favor for Lord By, but we'll talk about Lord By a little bit more later. First, I want to talk about 2 novellas that are coming out from Falstaff in the near future. How near, I have no clue. If you want to know more after you've heard about them, go beat up John Hartness. He needs it. Anyway, the first one is something called Siren Bridge. It is a kind of steampunk, gaslight, weird Western. It's magic in the West, only a different West than we're familiar with. But you got bustles, you got clockworks, you got women who are no better than they should be. And the most adventurous of adventuresses in that world is a lady by the name of Oleander Jones. And in Siren Bridge, Oleander Jones makes the mistake of stealing a very large jewel from the absolutely worst person she could steal it from, and finds herself with an entire army on her tail, including the only unbribable bounty hunter in the entire New Dominion territories. And the only way to escape is to cross a bridge haunted by the biggest, meanest, most savage, man-eating siren ever to grace the territories. There is also strudel.
Kind of like the what was it, the Clockwork Universe story?
Yeah, it is actually, it is in the same universe as the Clockwork Universe Steampunk versus Alien story, The Wizard of Woodrow Park, which is the first story set in this world. A second story following those characters was also published in Gaslight and Grimm. That one was called the Clockwork Nightingale, and it is a takeoff on the Nightingale because I loathe Hans Christian Andersen. He was such a misogynist and such an idiot, and I had to fix that.
Yeah.
But
we should mention that Clockwork Universe was out of print, but it is no longer out of print. People can get their names on it now.
If folks, you can buy it through Zombies Need Brains. You can now buy it through Amazon, and you can, I believe, get some special editions through the Kickstarter.
Yes, we have very, very few of the original Kickstarter versions of Clockwork Universe left, and so they're a special reward level in the new Kickstarter. So yeah, we have 2. We have one where you just get the book, and then we have a second reward level where you get the book plus some steampunk swag to go along with it.
Oh, how cool is that? Yeah, that's and it's, I miss mass market paperbacks, and those Kickstarter editions are mass market paperbacks. Now all the good stuff's coming out in trade.
Yeah.
But you can't throw the mass market paperback in your jacket pocket or in your purse. I mean, you can't throw the trade in your jacket, only the mass market.
Yes, I think you had it reversed there.
I did have it reversed because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is early morning for me. I haven't had enough caffeine.
So, why don't we just mention in here that the Kickstarter also has a Tuckerization for the steampunk series. I don't think it's this particular book.
It isn't this one because this one has already been copy edited, and I'm just awaiting my cover and some of the final details before it goes up on pre-order from Falstaff.
Yeah.
But I am working on number 2, in which, well, let us just say Ollie is in some ways in a worse place than what she was when she started Siren Bridge. She winds up in the soup. Well, she goes running to one of her friends to get help, and let's say it doesn't turn out the way she thought, because, well, you know, what would be the most steampunk kind of bad guy that you can think of from the history of Western lit? And we have it even in the movies. It's dear old Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
This is not Frankenstein. It's obviously it's a different world, but the mad scientist who wants to marry body parts and science, hey, you have to put it in there somehow. And you throw in a random goddess and things just go to hell real fast. But I do have some names that could be changed in that story. And, I would love to basically craft one of the characters to be a contributor, a backer of Zombies Need Brains. I could make it look like the backer. I could make it look like the backer wants to look. I'm fine. I could even find cannon fodder for them. We could kill you in so many wonderful ways.
Yeah, we should mention, in case people don't know what a Tuckerization is. So basically, you're going to work with the author to incorporate usually a name, but incorporate a name into that particular novella. And so if you're interested in doing that, if you want to be in a Jean Marie Ward steampunk universe, then grab one of those Tuckerizations. And they're actually on the cheap. They're only 150 for all the books, all 4 of the books, plus the Tuckerizations. So run and grab that if you would like to be in that particular series. So that's your steampunk series. You also have another novella coming out. So tell us about that one.
Okay, that one's called Blood and Strawberries, also coming from Falstaff Books, but it goes in a completely different direction. Those viewers who've met me in the real world know that I'm a former government employee and I've lived in Washington, D.C. most of my life, which means I have seen way too much of elected officials and the crazy that lives here. And so the urban fantasy series, which will start off with Blood and Strawberries and be followed by Kings of Death, is set in D.C. and it shows the DC that the locals know. I know that you look at DC from the outside and you say, this is a completely crazy universe cut off from the rest of the world. And in some senses it is, but you got to remember it's a real town and that we have to put up with those idiots who live on the hill or in that big funny White House that is surrounded by iron pickets and a lot of protest signs, no matter who's in it. We have to live here, and how we interact with what's going on there forms a lot of the comedy of the series. But of course, it's magic because, I mean, you are in Washington. There are certain places in the world that are mythic. Washington, Shanghai, Beijing, Petrograd, Petersburg, Moscow, Paris, London, New York. They have mythic resonance. And that's what's going on here. Each of the stories is involved is showing how myths play out in the real world, because myths are not just what happens to gods. Myths survive because we keep reliving them on a very human scale. And so the first one, Blood and Strawberries, talks about a myth called the Bacchae, which was made into a play by a Greek named Euripides. And basically, a politician decides to ignore the bringer of all good things, Dionysus or Bacchus. And Dionysus decides to teach him a lesson. And that lesson involves cross-dressing. And so what better scenario for this to happen in? Take a politician who is way worse than Oleander Jones, let me just say, and put that politician into a situation where he refuses to accept the world as it is, and then entice him to destroy himself. And it all happens around the DC high heel race. So that one should be coming out in the winter, also from Falstaff. The Tuckerization would be in the second book, which happens in the library, which occurs primarily in the Library of Congress and involves a journey into the underworld related to the hero twins, which is a myth from the Maya. And there are police, there are EMT tech, emergency medical techs, and most importantly, there is a librarian of one of the major departments in the Library of Congress who really, really needs a name.
So yes, couple potential Tuckerizations with Jean Marie for this Kickstarter. So let's shift from those books to the story that you're going to write for the Kickstarter, because I think you've mentioned this already. It's the third story.
It's the third story, yeah. And if you like dragons and you like dragons who are a little daft, you'll like Lord By. Lord By started as a, well, if we fund, we have now passed the 16,000 mark, and in 4 for More is the very first Lord By story. In Chinese mythology, there are 4 quadrants and the sacred center, okay? The 4 quadrants are north, east, south, and west. North is black and ruled by a turtle. East is green or blue and ruled by a dragon. South is red and ruled by a phoenix. And west is white and ruled by a tiger. But there are also 4 dragons for those cardinal directions. And so the white dragon of the white dragons live in the west. And Lord By is one of those white dragons. He is a Chinese dragon in that he is a shapeshifter. Dragons in Chinese mythology routinely shift from human to dragon and back again. And the shift is perfect. So if you want to see how Lord By burst onto the world, pledge, and you'll get a copy of Lord By's Discovery, which was the first, and that will be in 4 for More. Second, basically allowed Lord By to interact with the 3 Stooges in 1421 Nanjing. The story I'd like to write for Dragonesque. Well, I mentioned I was a government wonk, right? And one thing government wonks have to endure at great length are conferences where we decide policy for the government, and people are idiots. Oh God, if I'd ever have to sit through another government conference in my life and the next 3 incarnations, it will be too soon. So I decided, what would happen if a shape-shifting dragon who really is only concerned about his stomach winds up in one of those conferences thinking it's something else? And the title is called Lord By and the Magic Pirate.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
Except you have to
There,
put it down a teensy bit, don't you?
yeah, well, basically, the story started off at 9,400 words. Yeah, I always have to cut down. It's really funny. John says I write too short. You say I write too long. Uh,
Well, he's looking at novellas. I'm looking at, short stories. We got,
yeah, I
75
know,
minutes.
short stories, but you will be happy to note in my first pass that I got it down to 8,400 words. My goal is 7,500.
Yeah, 7,500
But we'll
is.
see how that goes. I'm holding off on the final edits because Dragon Con. Speaking of dragons,
Yeah.
and
Well, it's not due till the end of December if we fund, right? We got to fund first.
yeah, if we fund, that's the important thing is if we fund, and there are so many wonderful stories by so many wonderful writers, not just for Dragonesque, but for all of them. You've got Sean Williams, Williams, right? And you've
Yep.
got Julie Cherneda, um, you've got Barbara Campbell, you've got Gail Z. Martin and Larry Martin, and you've got Jenny Koch, and oh, so many wonderful people. And you know, I four books, folks, and plus all of the the early backer incentives and the
Stretch goals.
markers, the special incentives as we go through, to say nothing of the perks, where you get not just my Tuckerization, but you get Tuckerizations by Ginny and so many more folks. You get music, you get and the free fiction. I mean, it's a library for a $10 or $20 purchase,
Yeah.
a pledge, and then you add the books on top of that, and you get your name in the book one way or another, because if
Oh,
you are a backer, you can contribute enough to get an acknowledgement.
yeah. All you have to do is back, and you get acknowledged in the acknowledgments. So
Yeah, so it's really a great deal. And I mean, to say nothing of the fact that you are providing employment for starving writers.
and their cats.
Oh God, yes. The cats. Oh my God, the cats. Yeah, in Dangerous Dames, we get into the cats.
So yes, if you guys are interested in helping this little small press produce these 4 anthologies, you can just go to Kickstarter and search for Zombies Need Brains, or there is a shorter little URL that you can use. It's tinyurl.com/ZNB Kickstarter 2022. So again, that's tinyurl.com/ZNB Kickstarter 2022. And that will take you to the Kickstarter. And like Jean Marie said, you can get all 4 of the new themed anthologies in ebook for $20, plus any of the early backer incentives that you qualify for. So right now, I think if you back before we hit 18,000, I think you're getting 6. I think it's 6 extra ebooks and bonus material things to go along with your 4 anthologies. If you like them in paperback, like we said earlier, it's a limited edition Kickstarter paperback that we produced for the backers. It's mass market size, and that you can get all 4 of them for $60. So pretty cheap overall for the anthologies. Just so you guys know, the other 3 themes, so we have Dragonesque, which Jean Marie Ward is going to be in. The other 3 themes and titles are Game On. That one is going to be about games and RPGs. Then we have Solar Flare. That one's going to be solar punk stories. And then the last one is Artifice and Craft. And that one's going to be magical creations, essentially. So if you do some art or craft and you produce something with it, then that whatever you produce is supposed to be magical in some way. So I've been saying magical artifacts, but it's a little more specific than that. So those are the 4, and we've got like Jean Marie said, we've got a great slew of authors already lined up. If we fund, then we do an open call to finish out the rest of the anthology. So basically anybody can be in these anthologies. You have to submit a story to the open call, and if we pick it out, you're in. And again, that starts as soon as we fund. So if you're a writer, then there's a potential market here for you, professional paying market. But we can't do that until we fund. So if you've already backed us, thank you. If not, then head on over there and back us. And definitely, even if you can't back us this time around, spread the word. Okay, let other people know about the Kickstarter.
Yeah, the thing about Kickstarter is that the more the word goes out, the more likely something is to fund, and the more likely it is to get extra afterwards. Because even if we fund, the author of the Kickstarter needs a little bit extra, because sometimes people have to withdraw, sometimes things happen and pledges don't get through. People aren't able to make their pledge, and you got to have extra. And if you go beyond that, you as contributors get more, because there are plenty of incentives for exceeding the goal.
Yeah.
Including for the writers, more money.
If you're high enough, I can pay more. Exactly.
Exactly. And being a whiny, greedy, broke writer, like every writer you ever met, I'm all about extra money. Let's just face it. My cat is all about extra money. And we have to feed the cat. That's absolutely it. We have to feed our cats, our dogs, our lizards, our hamsters.
And yourself.
Yeah, that too. But we all know who gets fed first. So if you like dragons and games and cursed artifacts, well, magical artifacts, and
Solar punk. Yeah, this is the Kickstarter for you.
It sure is.
So I want to thank you, Jean-Marie, for stopping by and chatting a little bit about your books. So everybody remember to go out and pick up or pre-order Siren Bridge. That's the steampunk one. So the Siren Bridge. And then Blood and Strawberries is the other one. So right. Keep an eye out for those. Hopefully pre-orders will be up for those soon. So pick those up and swing on by the Kickstarter and help us reach our goal.
Yes.
We'll catch everybody later.
Thank you for watching.